Put your hands together. Get up off your feet. Please help me welcome the visionary founder of SendOutCards, Mr. Kody. Y'all got some energy in you? Yeah. Can you, I know, it's getting close to the end of the day. You're starting to look at the clock a little bit. Can you ignore your watch?
Yeah.
Can you give me 45 minutes undivided attention?
Bring it.
You ready for me to bring it? Everybody's ready. You're in 100%, right?
Yeah.
Okay, I want you to get out a piece of paper. And I want you to write 2 sentences. They're actual partial sentences. The first one I want you to write at the top of the page, and the second one right in the middle of the page. Okay, does everybody have a sheet of paper? Yeah. So at the top of the page is a partial sentence. I want you to write the words. Let's see, what did I want you to write? Write the words, be prepared for. Be prepared for. 3 words, top left side of the page. Be prepared for. Everyone with me? Okay, let's go to the middle of the page. And I'm going to have you write another partial sentence. This one is, be crazy enough to. First one, be prepared for. Second one, be crazy enough to. Everybody with me? Yep. So y'all curious now?
Yeah.
All right, well, the first thing you know what? I need a clicker. Okay, cool. The first thing I want to talk to you is that first line up at the top is to be prepared for. And to finish out that sentence, and I think this is really important to be able to implement everything that you've learned today and talk about catching that wave like Steve suggested and learning and get to level 4, meaning create a habit of sharing the APA MPP. It's not enough to just be able to do it. You have to get to level 4 of doing it. And if you don't know what level 4 is, go to a Promptings Academy and learn. Okay? Level 4 is it becomes a habit. Jordan Adler doesn't do SendOutCards. Jordan Adler is SendOutCards. I think Brad Stewart or somebody made a comment today about the fact that it blows their mind that Jordan and DeMar continue every single day to do the fundamentals of build the business. He talked about that's because they're great leaders and they're this and they're that. Well, you know what the reality is? They can't stop. It is because they're great leaders, but it's more that it's such a habit they cannot. They couldn't stop showing or sharing SendOutCards if they tried. That's where you need to get. Does that make sense? So you want to get to those levels. But there's some things that's really important for us to do in order to catch that wave. Y'all want to catch the wave? Yeah. Y'all feel that there's something special about to happen in the culture of SendOutCards, in the movement of SendOutCards, something special about to happen? Yeah. Are we going to hit unprecedented growth within the next couple of years? Y'all feel that? In other words, the wave is coming. The wave's coming, and you got to get on that board. You got to start to do that kind of thing, right? And you got to get to level 4 or create habits of the things that you learned today. It's not enough to just know them and do them. You got to get to level 4, meaning it becomes a habit in your life. By the way, level 4 means conscious competence. You no longer think about unconscious competence. You no longer think about it. You just do it. DeMar doesn't think about walking up to somebody and asking that golden question. Have you ever been with DeMar? Trust me, he doesn't think about it. He just, That's how it's the same thing as you watch, and I pick on DeMar, but there's many leaders in the room that are that way. So you want to get to level 4 doing that. But I want you to know that those 2 things I had you write, it's really important that you're prepared for those 2 things. If you can get prepared with those 2 things, you'll be able to catch the wave. The first one, what are the words?
Be prepared for.
Be prepared for the ebbs and flows of life. Finish out the sentence. Be prepared for the ebbs, E-B-B-S, and flows of life. Y'all know what ebb and flow means? I just learned this like 20 minutes ago. Jordan and I looked it up.
I Googled it for him.
He Googled it for me. Now have y'all used the term ebb and flow before? Yeah. And I've used that term before, but Jordan said, hey, what does ebb mean? He looks like, what? What does ebb? Like ebb and flow? And so we looked it up. So ebb and flow has to do with water. And the explanation they give is actually the tide. When a tide comes into the shore, that's the flow. When a tide leaves the shore and goes out to sea, that's the ebb. So you catch a visual of that? So the whole nature of life, the universal laws work in a case of ebb and flow. The tides work in the case of ebb and flow. You cannot have lightness without dark. You can't have good without bad. You cannot have prosperity without challenge. Make sense? There's an opposition in all things you do in life. So you got to be prepared for the ebbs and flows. Are there ebbs and flows in this business?
Yes.
Even when you get into momentum, are there going to be ebbs and flows in the business? Let's say that 100 people a week are joining your team. Would that be awesome?
Yeah.
Are you excited for that? Is it coming? Yeah. So when 100 people a week are joining your team, will there still be ebbs and flows? Yes. Be prepared for the ebbs and the flows. Always be prepared for that. Now this year, I've had some ebbs and flows in my life. And it's not just in your business, it's in your life. You need to be prepared for the ebbs and flows in your business, but also in your life. You ever heard the phrase, sometimes life gets in the way, right? Be prepared for the ebbs and flows of your life. This year has been an ebb and flow for me. Most of you know I lost my dad early in the year, unexpectedly. And it's been an interesting experience because I'm still not over it. I was just super, super close with my dad. Ebb of life. So, you look at that perspective and you say, that's part of my life that's dramatically changed now because my dad's gone. But universal law, what God gives to us no matter what, is the ebbs and the flows of life. So that's an ebb for sure. But you want to see some flows?
Yes.
So this year, early in the year, I lost my dad. But let me show you what I've gained. So that's Hadley. She is granddaughter, and she is our 4th grandchild that was born 4.5 months ago. So here she is, ebbs and flows. By the way, also a smoking hot wife. Now, when I hold this baby, everything's okay. When I hold that baby, I feel close to my dad. When I hold that baby, I understand and I know what life really is all about. Ebbs and flows of life. Okay, let's show you another one. Okay, now I hope that this works.
Oh, hold on, we got it.
This is granddaughter, this is number 5. She was born 5 days ago. Now, if you listen real close, you might be able to hear that baby sound when they sleep. I don't know if you'll be able to hear it or not. Can you crank up the deal? Now, that's coming out of her nose, not the other part. Is that the coolest thing you've ever seen? Ebbs and flows. It's the way life works in your life and in your business. You have what you call ebbs and flows. The storms will come, but they always clear. The sun is always shining somewhere. It's important to remember that in your life and in your business. And one of the greatest ways to always be prepared for the ebbs and flows, I'd like to show this little thing from Charlie Brown. What if today we were just grateful for everything? That's the key. That's the key for being prepared for the ebbs and flows of life. What if today we were just grateful for everything? Can everybody be grateful today for just everything that you have in your life? Are you grateful to be here today? Are you grateful for the leaders that are up on this stage? Are you grateful for the lessons that we've learned? Are you grateful for this business opportunity? Are you grateful for the relationships that you're gaining? Are you grateful for the chance that you have to reach out in kindness to other people every day? Are you grateful that you have a chance that if you work this hard and catch the wave, that you'll never have to worry about money for the rest of your life? Can you be grateful for those things? Today you are just grateful for everything. That's what's so important. We have a mechanism that we can share gratitude every day of our life. We've had these little challenges here, a 7-day or a 30-day gratitude challenge. If you haven't done one, do one. Send a grateful for you card every day for 30 days to somebody. And do it from the smartphone. I got a challenge for you. 7 days. The next 7 days, it has to be from your smartphone. You're going to send an unexpected card of gratitude to somebody in your life. For the next 7 days, you're not going to miss a day. Can everybody do that?
Yes.
The 7-day iPhone gratitude, the 7-day smartphone gratitude challenge. Can everybody do that? No, seriously, can everybody do that? The 7-day smartphone gratitude challenge, you're going to do it from the smartphone because we want to get you into the habit of using the smartphone. That's going to make you a master at APA, MPP, LMNOP, Scooby-Dooby-Dee, Honda-Chuck-a-Moo. I'll tell you what. So what if today we were just grateful for everything? So those are some of the things that you do. If you stay in the attitude of gratitude, you'll be prepared for those ebbs and those flows of life. I don't know if you got a rest slide. Can I hit this one more time? Or?
No rest.
I'll give you a rest slide right here.
All right, sounds good. So I'm going to get into a couple of other things. I want you to go down to that next sentence. Let's finish in the next sentence. A while back, I heard this saying, and it's been all over the place now, and you've all probably seen it a million times, heard it a million times. But every time I hear it, it really catches my attention. And I know you've all heard it, and it says this: those who believe they are crazy enough to change the world are what? Are the ones who
Will.
Are the ones who
Most
do.
likely.
Those who believe they are crazy enough to change the world are the ones who actually do. So guess what that sentence is? Be crazy enough to believe that you will change the world. Can you write that down? Be crazy enough. Do this with me. See, anybody who's close to me, just ask Steve and Vanessa, Jordan, Mar, Dave, Lori, Jody, my wife. Ask anybody who's close to me if they think that I'm just that I'm crazy. Like I'm like crazy. Like I'm almost like I'm borderline. Like I'm a crazy. Like I'm crazy, right? Right? I'm a crazy guy. But those who are crazy enough to believe that they can change the world are the ones who do. And I want to believe that I'm one of those people. And I believe that you can join in that effort with me. Be crazy enough to believe that we can change the world. Let me show you why I think, or how we can do that. See, we have a twofold mission at SendOutCards. Y'all know what it is. And I'm crazy enough, and I believe you are crazy enough to believe that it will actually work. See, the twofold mission is this. Number one is to help millions of people to act on their promptings to reach out in kindness every day. Right? And number 2 is provide a vehicle for financial freedom. Now, those are 2 cool things. And sometimes those things seem to be a little bit in conflict. You mean to tell me I'm going to make millionaires out of helping you be kind to people? You know how many people in the world tell us that it's just, Kody, it's just not feasible. You just need to talk about the money, the money, the money, the money, the money, 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 the money, and don't worry about your product, and then a whole bunch of people will make money. Well, I'm crazy enough to believe I can do both. I'm crazy enough to believe that I can talk about the money, but I'm still going to talk about the prompting and helping people to reach out in kindness every day. I will never allow the twofold mission to get clouded. The twofold mission is very important for all of your business. That's why I love the APA MPP. You know why? Because the APA MPP calls for the twofold mission. It calls for you to get your smartphone out and show somebody how to act on a prompting. That's what you're doing. When you're sharing with somebody, you're talking into this cool little thing. You end up with a card and it sends out. What are you doing? You're showing somebody how to act on a prompting. And then right after that, you're going into this whole presentation about, the business and the money and everything else. So for the first time in the history of SendOutCards, we're getting really, really good at staying balanced in our presentation with the twofold mission. And that's the reason, even above all the technology advancement, that right there is the reason that we will explode this business in the next 24 to 36 months. Y'all ready to do this? Okay. So I want to share with you a little bit about the philosophy of the prompting and where it came from. This is the why. All day long you've heard the hows. I'm going to give you a little why right now. In 1989 I graduated from college and was offered a job in New York City. I lived in Salt Lake. And I accepted the offer, and I came back. I actually did an internship out there for a couple months. I was newly married to Jody and our little baby girl, Whitney. And they lived in Salt Lake. I lived in New York. Two months of that. And so I decided, I worked there. They offered me this position. We accepted it. I came back home. Jody and Whitney and I gathered all of our belongings together, and we put it in the U-Haul truck, and we're on our way out. We're going to drive all the way across the country to New York to go to work. We're excited. There's new beginnings, new possibilities for us. So I remember doing that. We went over to my mom and dad's house to say our goodbyes to mom and dad. As I go to say goodbye there, we said all our goodbyes. We came back out to the front of the house, and we went to get in our car, and I noticed over in a lot adjacent to my folks' home, my older brother, Chris, was moving some vehicles around, and at that moment, I had a prompting. That's where the word comes from. A prompting is a thought. It's an intuition that you need to act and do something. And I had the prompting that I needed to go over to my brother, give him a hug, tell him I love him, and say goodbye. It was that specific. Go over, give your brother a hug, tell him you love him, and say goodbye. We were in a hurry. There were people waiting for us. I ignored the prompting. I got in the car and I waved, and we honked and I waved, and he waved back, and we drove out of Utah. Drove all the way across the country. Moved into our new place in New Jersey, right across the Hudson River from Midtown Manhattan. And we moved in there and got things going, and 2 or 3 months go by, and we're having a wonderful time with our new life. And all of a sudden, in the middle of the night, the phone rings, 2:30 in the morning. My mother, on the other side of the phone, tearfully tells me that my brother Chris had just been killed in an accident. Now, the only thing I could do when I hung that phone up was think about what? I ignored a prompting to say bye to my brother Chris. I'd never had the chance to do it again. And that was, you want to talk about defining moments? That was my defining moment. So I made a promise to my brother Chris that night. 1989, I was sitting in a little apartment in New Jersey. There was a brick wall right there, and I was staring at that brick wall. Remember it like it was yesterday. I out loud spoke to my brother Chris, and I said, brother, I'm sorry that I did not act on a prompting, but I will make a promise to you that when I have a prompting to reach out in kindness, I will act, and I'll do everything I can in my life to help as many people in my life to do the same thing. And that's where the vision and the dream started, to build a business like you see today in SendOutCards. Okay? Acting on a prompting to reach out in kindness. And it's been a 25, 28, 29, oh heck, 30 years now journey since that day. Do you think I've learned a little bit about the word promptings? My goodness, if you show up, why do we have a Promptings Academy? Because you need to learn the philosophy of promptings, where promptings can take you, how it's going to help you in your personal life and in your business, what it's going to do to change your life. See, because I believe we're crazy enough. I'm crazy enough to believe that we together can change the world by helping people to act on their promptings, to reach out in kindness, while at the same time provide a vehicle for financial freedom. And yes, we can and we will do both. And you want to know what that does for us? That makes us different than anybody out there. People say to me all the time, Kody, you need to be like other network marketing companies. I say, well, no, we don't. See, I wasn't born to be the same. I was born to be different. You see this right here? This is my, what do they call this thing? This is my fingerprint. It's not the same as any one of you guys. We all have a different fingerprint, right? I'm crazy enough to believe that I can be different. I'm crazy enough to believe that we have a company that is different. That we can go out and reach millions of people want this product, right?
Yes.
Millions of people need this product. Millions of people want the opportunity for financial freedom. I do believe we can do both, and I'm never, ever, ever, ever going to stop until we do. I'm not going to stop until the world listens. Share another quick story with you. This happened actually a couple of years before my brother passed away. So I had a lot of experiences that happened in my life that kind of led me to this mission. And this is an interesting experience, and I'm going to tell this story because it kind of relates to a couple of people I want to bring up on the stage here in just a second. So I'm going to school. I'm going to college. It was a church-run college in southeast Idaho. And we had this church group. They're all young kids. We were anywhere from 19 to 23 years old. And we had our little church groups. And we had a church group. It was a little church congregation of about 150 students. And there were a whole bunch of these at the college, but I had the group I was in. And a good friend of mine, you know, my roommate, were in this little church group. And I remember the first day I went to school, and we went over to the dorms, and all the people were gathered together, and our little group was kind of gathered together. We went and introduced ourselves to everybody. And it was the weirdest thing, because when we went to leave, you know, we were like, you know, all meeting each other and clapping and, you know, shaking hands and hugging each other, whatever. When we went to leave, everybody said, hey, we'll see you later. And I turned to the group. I have no idea, because I've never done this before in my life. I have no idea why I did it, where the words came from at all. I said, all right, hey, we'll see you. I love you, man. I said those words. Like I had a couple guys look at me like, huh? Okay, well, I love you too. And it was weird. I ain't gonna lie, it was weird. Like I left, and my roommate that knows me realized, dude, what was that? I don't know. But I looked at him, but I love you, man. So next time we got together, I forgot all about it. So I go to leave, and some of these brand new kids that were in this congregation, who I barely met, don't know them very well, we go later, I said, hey, we'll see you later, and guess what happened? I forgot all about it. Guess what happened? Some of the guys in the group, who I don't even know, said, hey, I love you, man. Love you too, man. Totally forgot about it. But what was interesting is it caught on. We had this little church group, and by coincidence, this stupid, freaky little thing caught on. Every time anybody in that group saw each other around the campus, we would always greet each other as we left. Hey, I love you, man. I love you too. What do you think happened to that group? Do you think we were a close-knit group? Do you think we had each other's back? You think we had amazing events together? Every single time we passed each other by, we would say the words, "I love you, man. I love you too." And we'd walk away. Is that a cool place to live in? A little weird, but hey, weird is cool, right? Love you, man. So we're asked to go out to a correctional facility in southeast Idaho, and we were given the assignment to go out and work with these kids. These are troubled teens from ages 14 to 18 years old. They wanted our entire church group to go out there and have an activity night. We're supposed to play games. I mean, these are troubled youth. I mean, they're in trouble with the law. Many of them serious crimes. Theft, involving weapons. I mean, serious. A lot of these kids are in serious crimes. A lot of build-up anger in these kids. I remember walking in. Our whole group walked into the correctional facility. We're walking down this aisle. And I don't know why they did this, but they lined all the kids up down this corridor. So all the kids are lined up, and we had to walk through the middle of them. So we're walking through the middle of these kids, and what do you think they were looking at us. How do you think they were looking at us? I mean, it was kind of like, they're giving us that stinky face look. You know what a stinky face is? That's a stinky face. We were not welcomed, let's put it that way. We're walking in there, and it's like they didn't want to do no activity night. They didn't even know who we were. It was just a way to pass the time. So we go into this auditorium. We start doing some stuff. It ended up being okay because they served some really good food. And food always works for that kind of thing. And so everything kind of worked out. But I was given the assignment that at the end of this thing, I had to do an inspirational message. I was supposed to stand in the auditorium and give an inspirational message to 100 kids from our church group and about 100 kids from the correctional facility. Literally, the way it was set up, when it came time to do it, all of our kids went on this side of the bleachers, and all of their kids went on this side of the bleachers. It's totally separated. And they introduced me to come give an inspirational message. And I'd known about the assignment for a while, and I had no clue what I was going to say. Even when I went to walk up to the deal, I didn't know what I was going to say. And I was literally praying, I need a little help here. So I get up, I had no clue what I was going to say. I didn't tell anybody what I was going to do because I didn't know what I was going to do. I get up to the mic, sitting there with a stand and the mic's like this right in the middle of this auditorium. And right when I got to the mic, I had a prompting, powerful prompting, that told me what to do. The challenge with it was it involved everybody from my church group, and they didn't know what I was going to do. So I had to have faith that they were going to catch on. Otherwise, I was going to look really bad. So here's what I did. Hey, listen, appreciate the time that you've let us spend with you guys tonight. I'm going to be very, very brief here. I just want you guys to know that there's only one reason that we came here tonight. And on the count of 3, every single person over here in the bleachers is going to tell you they didn't know what I was doing. I went 1, 2, 3. Simultaneously, 100 kids scream out the words, "I love you, man!" Well, I want to hear it again. We came here for one reason tonight. I want you all to listen to it really well. 1, 2, 3, and they yelled, "I love you, man! I love you, man!"
I love you, man.
You could not hear a pin drop in the room. I knew it was time to sit down. I said, "Thank you very much." And I walked towards my seat. And I walked over where these kids were sitting. Tears flowing from their faces. And it dawned on me that many of those kids were probably hearing those words for the very first time. I'll never forget the feeling that experience gave me. And I made a promise to myself that night. This was way before the Chris story. I made a promise to myself that night. Whatever I do with my life, I want it to help me feel like this. Do you think we have something that can help us feel like that?
Yes.
You know, there's a phrase, right? Do we have something that can help people feel that way? I want to make sure that everybody feels welcome to send out cards all throughout the world. It doesn't matter what walk of life you come from, what color of skin you have. You heard me do this speech before. We take you just the way you are. You can come from Yale or you can come from Yale. We take you just the way you are. Well, you know what? I got someone here today from Yale, and I have someone here today from Yale. And they're going to help you to understand the story as it continues to go on. Let's bring up the lady from Yale, Callie T. Garden. Come on up here, Callie. Y'all know who she is. Now, Callie's actually from, she graduated from Notre Dame, but we just kind of improvise and say it's Yale. It's almost the same, right? I mean, it's a big league school, and she's one of those smart people. She's one of those smart people. She came from Yale or Notre Dame, okay? Went into the corporate world, been very, very successful in the corporate world. She was in sales there. She was in management there. She's one of those smart people. Big degree, big corporate job, big money. And a couple of years ago, she made a life-changing decision to do what? To leave her corporate world and go full-time position into her network marketing business with the company called SendOutCards. She comes from Yale. We take her just the way she is, all smart, polished, and all that kind of stuff. Well, one of the closest friends I have in my life today, I'm going to bring to the stage right now, and he came from jail. Put your hands together for Ben Peter. Come on up here, Ben. Yell, jail. Right? Now this is where it gets kind of crazy and a little bit emotional. But Ben, sitting in a prison cell for a long, long time, one day has a defining moment. It came in the way of a greeting card from his mother. Ben, can you tell us about that experience?
Short version is I was a few months away from coming home, and I just got off the phone with my girlfriend at the time, and she basically just dumped me. And they locked us down in our cells for count. They bring us out of our cells for mail call, and they call my name. My cellie brings me the mail because I was mentally and emotionally not there. And I opened up a card from my mom, and it saved my life that day. And the cards just started coming.
You got a couple of those to show off?
Yep. So I got like 3 or 4 cards the first couple of days, but this is one of them that she sent. A picture of my boy and my ex and her daughter. Just totally blew my mind. Had pictures of them, and obviously a nice little message. This was actually the first card she sent me. It says, if you guys can see it, if you like this card, I have an account with SendOutCards. It's easy to send cards. I'd like to send some to guys that need encouragement, so let me know what you think. My cellmate at the time, This was in 2009. He had been in prison for 10 years at that time, constantly fighting his case, always claiming his innocence. And he had nobody. Everybody deserted him. I was one of the very few lucky people that my family never turned their back on me. So I told my mom about him, and a week or two later, she sends him a card. And fast forward, I get out. His name's Vito. Some of you have heard his name before. We basically became his only family. And he's been to the Supreme Court, lost his case, and about 2 years ago, he got attacked in prison and was hurt pretty bad in the hospital. And he had sent my mom a letter and basically said he didn't want to fight anymore, he just wanted to die. We reached out to SendOutCards people, and I don't know how many cards were sent to him, but there was some of you in this room maybe even sent him a card. It changed his life. About 10 days ago, he got a phone call. They finally overturned his case. So he's coming home. They're just waiting on some paperwork. He's coming to Michigan to live with us, because we're the only family that he has. And you guys will all meet him, but you'll never miss him again. I know that.
Thank you, Ben. So now you got Kelly from Yale, Ben from Yale. They're two best friends, who stuck together, love each other. That's the type of environment that you have at SendOutCards. We don't care where you come from. Come on in. But be ready when you get here to move on up. Come on in, and let's move on up together. That's the environment that we want to create. Thank you, guys. I appreciate that very much. Okay, so I'm crazy enough to believe that we can have that culture and that message and that philosophy and always share the prompting side of our business while we build millionaires. I'm crazy enough to believe we can do both. Are y'all with me? Yes! You see the possibility here. All right, so now, I want to show you something. This is how I'm going to close up. And I need you to get excited about this because it's really, really important. And before I show you this slide, what I want to do right now is I'm going to show you this pump. Now, if any of you have seen Zig Ziglar's, he does this speech. You ever seen the Zig Ziglar speech with the pump? And he talks about priming up the pump. And we got a kind of little visual here. Now is the time to prime up the pump, okay? And he gets up there, and he used to have an actual pump on the stage, and he'd start to prime it. You know, he'd move the pump like this, and you could see the water coming up the spout. And what he would talk about is the importance of you got to keep priming the pump until it gets up to go around the elbow. Once it gets around the elbow, it begins to ebbs, and the ebb part of it is working your way up, working your way up. Now, what happens if you let up? It flows back the other way. Now, if it flows the other way, do you have to work harder to get it back? You have to work harder. So that's why it's so important. Just like Steve said, it's so important that when the wave's there and you're on the board, you got to paddle fast to catch the wave. Same thing here. That when you're priming that pump and that whole thing is coming up, it's very, very important that you keep it with. That means we as a team, all across SendOutCards land, we as a team have to continue to prime this pup. Okay, we're at that stage now. Now, I had two different charts to show you. One showed the whole history of SendOutCards, and the other one just showed the last couple of years. I decided just to show you the last couple of years, but I do want you to know that we're an 11-year-old company. And we've had our ebbs and we've had our flows. We were the only company to ever offer greeting cards and gifts in a network marketing model before. We had to pioneer our way. We had to learn as we went. A lot of things have happened. You know, we put on 650,000 users in a 10-year period of time. Those 650,000 users was on an old, antiquated platform that was built with 1999 technology. We just built this thing and started sending cards on it. Next thing you know, we have several 100,000 accounts. Each one has contact manager with several hundred names in them. We added Picture Plus, so now they're storing, you guys, all of us are storing pictures on top of it. All this massive weight of data is down on this antiquated system, right? But in the process of that, we built up a pretty nice organization. We were priming the pump. We were kind of getting on up there. We got to where we had to make a major transition with our technology and with some of our presentation and comp plan stuff. Big transition. Big transition. An ebb, not a flow. It was an ebb time of our business. We had to make those transitions, okay? In 2013, one of the first phase of our technology transition was complete. We had another phase to get to. But the first phase was complete about 2013. Now, we just come off of a season of ebb because we had to rebuild all this stuff. So we get to 2013. Everybody with me? We get to 2013, and we have the first phase of our technology shifted. We've got our platform and all the people lifted off of that old one and back down onto the new one, which was a difficult process, but we had it done. So here we are in 2013, and we're beginning to build. Well, now we had to go to phase two. Phase two was, now that we have the new platform, we got to start working on the new technologies, like smartphone. See, the reason that the old apps wouldn't work a couple of years ago is we were trying to build it on the old platform, and it just wasn't synergistic. We couldn't get the apps to work right. So we had to transition to a new platform in order to build, literally to start building the technology you see today on an iOS app and on an Android app. We've spent $6.5 million on that advancement in the last 22 months. We are primed and ready to go. If you build it, they will come, and we made the commitment to do that. We have shifted to become a technology company. Let me show you something here. I'm going to go to this next deal. So 2013 is when phase one of this transition was complete. So let me kind of show you, and this is kind of the build phase. And this line that you see, it actually represents reps coming in. These are MDs coming into the business. Now you'll notice we have a startup phase, a build phase, pre-momentum, a momentum phase. Momentum phase is when the water starts to flow out of that thing. Does that make sense? So what do we have to do? We got to prime the pump. So from 2013 all the way up to July of 2015, that's what we started doing. We got the new platform, getting things ready to go. We got all our new technologies and stuff. But we still got to build the phone apps and everything else, so we got to get into phase two. So for that 2-year period, bam, we're priming the pump, and we're in build phase. We're in that build phase. We're doing okay. Every single MD that signs up represents 3 preferred customers. If we can maintain that ratio, okay, and we can focus on that MD count continuing to go up, this line represents MD count. But remember, every MD represents 3 legitimate preferred customers, right? Y'all with me?
Yeah.
All of that helps in the flow of your volume that pays your commission checks. So we want to focus on the MD count because we know that the MD count represents exponential growth of our business. Every MD represents 3 preferred customers. The more MDs, the more customers. So if I'm bringing in 500 MDs a month, I'm going to be bringing in about 1,500 preferred customers. If I'm bringing in 5,000 MDs a month, I'm going to be bringing in about 15,000 preferred customers. Would you like an organization bringing in 5,000 and 15,000 customers? Okay, that's what we have to build towards. Now I want to share with you something. There's a reason I stopped in July of 15. On July 31st, 2015, we defaulted to the new website. That was, do y'all remember that?
Yeah.
That was the day that phase 2 became complete. It allowed us now to be able to introduce the smartphone apps, and soon to be to follow behind a lot of API plugins that's going to allow us to do a lot of things with CRMs and other stuff. Those two things are combined. Now I want to show you something. I want you to think about the guy, the thing that Steve showed. I want you to think about that guy that was on the surfboard, and the wave's there, and he's got to build that momentum. Or I want you to think about this pump, and what our job is to get that water flowing up. Since July 31st, now keep in mind, this is 2 years of activity right here. You can see that? Since July 31st, basically August 1st, to the present day, with the ability to really do an APA now because we have a smartphone that works, right? Y'all with me?
Yes.
Let me show you what's happened. 2 months.
Hey, Brooke.
2 years, 2 months. Are we going to keep that thing going up?
When I go up on stage,
Isn't there a song that says something like going up, up?
just so that I don't have to reach under there.
And that's the key. The key is now everything's poised and positioned, and we're not just saying it. I know a lot of you have been around a long time, so yeah, I've heard this stuff before. We're not just saying it, we're doing it. This is double growth in 2 months, my friends. We are doing it already. Now, do we have a long ways to go? Yeah, we do. Let's see what we need to do. We got to keep priming that pump until it begins to flow and get this company into momentum. Let me tell you something. When this company is into momentum, that's where you're going to see that exponential growth that's coming into your business, as long as you catch the wave. If you're part of priming the pump, you're going to be on the wave. If you stop priming the pump, you won't be on the wave. You're going to be like the guy that's 500 feet in the air going the other direction, right? Although that kind of looks fun, actually. But you see what I'm saying? It's important that you get involved, get engaged, and prime this pump as hard as you possibly can and catch this wave, because we're doing it. When this thing starts to flow, you're talking about thousands of people coming in to send out cards every day. MDs every day. Meaning 3 to, multi-thousands of customers coming in every single day. That's when a Melissa Barlock is going to really pay attention to her back office, because she's going to have 5,000 MDs join her team in a week and 20,000 new customers. And she's going to be wondering where they came from. That's what it means to be in a momentum. This company's never gotten there. We've gotten kind of to pre-momentum a little bit. We've never got to momentum. But do you think we have everything in place to do it now?
Yes!
Okay. So are you ready to join all of us in this charge? Do you see the importance of going out and doing what we need to do? Now I'm going to say to you, it is all hands on deck. I had a gentleman meet me in the bathroom, and he said to me, Kody, hey, I do a lot of meetings here in the bathroom, just so you know. I apologize because I don't remember your name, but a gentleman there, he says, hey, Kody, I'm just wondering, is there going to be a Promptings Academy on the West Coast, like Arizona or San Diego or whatever, because I'm from the West Coast, or do you think I should drive to Houston because I don't fly anymore, so I'd be driving from the West Coast to Houston? What do you think my answer was? Well, I was a little more political than that. But basically what I said is a little bit about this speech. Listen, we are at a crossroads in our business. We are in a position where we can really begin to grow. This will be a historical event in Houston in January. All hands on deck. If there is an event to get to it. There's an event to take a guest to, get them to it. If you don't have an event in your area, you start an event. It starts with the one-on-ones across the phone, the 4-on-1s in your home, and the 30-on-1s or the 40-on-1s in the little community center or hotel rooms. And if you don't have them in your area, you're going to start them in your area, and you're going to support the ones that are around you. Events do drive business. We need to get to the point where our regional event, which is going to be the Promptings Academy, we need 5,000 to 6,000 people at a Promptings Academy. That's a regional event, okay? We need 20,000 to 25,000 people at our international convention. That's a big national event. All hands on deck to promote the events of SendOutCards. It should be the priority. If you want to prime the pump, and we want to get into the flow, and you want to help millions of people to act on their promptings and provide a vehicle for financial freedom, be crazy enough with me to believe we can do it. Let's have the 5,000 people regionals and the 20,000 plus national, international events. Can we do this?